In this video, we are going to see about the exception handling. Okay, so we'll be starting with the what is exception first, right? So let's try to understand what the exception is. So basically, exception is an unwanted or unexpected event which occurs during the execution of the program. Let me show you, or let me explain this thing with the help of example. So here we are going to create a new class. Class name is exception demo. Let's have the public static void main method, and inside that, let's declare the variable integer a and integer b. Okay, and let's assume that these values come from the user. Okay, so for that, what I'm going to do, let's have a scanner class. The scanner class is used to get the input from the user through the command prompt. So scanner input is equal to new scanner with the argument system dot in, right? And here user is going to provide two inputs. One both would be the integer. So the first input would be that input dot next int. The second one would be that input dot next int. Okay, and here we are going to do one thing, that is the division of these two numbers. Okay, so let's have one more variable, that is integer. Let's say answer is equal to a divided by b. Okay, and after that I'm just going to print the answer, that is the division of a and a by b is like this. Here I'm going to print the answer. Okay, now let me run the program. Okay, so here it is asking me for the numbers. Okay, so just I'm providing the values, let's say 10 and 5. Okay, and it should print the output that is equal to 2. Okay, so it is printing the output, that output is correct. Okay, now let me run the application once again. It is asking me for the input. Okay, so let me provide the input 10, and now here I am providing another input, that is 0. Okay, and let me see that what happens to the program. So here you can see that this is not a valid thing, right? Dividing any number by 0 is not a valid thing, right? So what the Java is doing, Java is just printing something over here in the form of exception. This is the exception. Okay, what this exception is all about, this is the divide by 0 exception. Okay, so what Java has done, Java has found that there is something wrong while running the program over here. Okay, so from that line it has stopped the execution. So that's why here you can see that the line number is given, that it says that line number 10 has something wrong, right? And then it has kept that whatever statements are there after that particular line which is in this exception. Okay, so here the thing to understand is that the exception is unwanted or unexpected event which occurs during the execution of the program, and that is what happening over here. Here what is happening, that user is providing these two inputs which is not in the hand of the program, right? Everything is in the hand of the user, and somehow that user has provided unexpected values, right? And that's why that the program is not able to continue further, and because of that the Java runtime environment is generating this particular exception. And what is the problem after that? The problem is that once that it has found that this is not a valid thing from the programming perspective, and that's why it has kept the remaining statement like that. It has kept this system.out.println. So that is the, this could be the problem when the program may run, and that is not in the hand of anyone, right? So this is the exception. Now exception can be caught and handled by the program, right? So here let's try to understand. See here what should be done, that we should display the proper message, and what should happen, that the remaining statement should also be executed. Okay, so here that this thing should be handled with the mechanism called exception handling. Okay, so that what may happen, that the remaining statement can be executed. Okay, so that we are going to see later on. Third thing is that when an exception occurs within a method, it creates the exception object. So here, if you see that when the Java runtime environment throws or it generates this message, at that time it says that the exception in thread main is what is a method, right? Exception is occurring there in the main thread, okay? And the what is the type of exception? That the type of exception is the arithmetic exception. This arithmetic exception is a class of the Java, okay, which is there inside the package called java.leg. Okay, so what this uh, Java runtime environment do is whenever this kind of unexpected or unwanted situation happens, at that time it creates the object of that particular class and it throws that particular object like this. Okay, so this is the meaning of the third point, that when an exception occurs within a method, it creates an exception object. So here in our example, it has created the object of class called arithmetic exception. Now, major reasons why an exception occurs, right? So the first one is that the user may provide invalid input. The another one is that the access to that particular element is not available. The third one is that the device failure. Suppose that you have written a program which takes the input from the socket or sends the output to the socket, which sends the data to the another machine, right? That means that uses the network, right? So device failure could happen, that your webcam may not be running, your mic may not be running. Okay, so all these reasons could be the exception, right? Could result in the exception, like your hard disk may not be giving the desired file that you want, loss of network connection, right? Physical limitations like out of disk memory, code errors, opening unavailable file. So all these are the major reasons why an exception occurs. Okay. Then what is an error, right? So obviously you must be confused that that there is an error also, there may be an exception also, right? So let's try to understand with this help of example. I'm going to take the same thing or same class over here. Suppose if I remove the semicolon from here, this is an error, right? This is an error. Okay, here which kind of error it is? It is the syntax error. Syntax error. Okay, that means that as a programmer you are not following the syntax of your programming language. What is the syntax over here? The syntax is that the any statement in Java must be ended with a semicolon. Okay, so if you remove the semicolon, then it gives the syntax error, right? It says that the semicolon is accepted. Okay, so this is one of the type of error. Another type of error could be like this. Let me show you. Suppose let me declare one variable that is integer variable. Okay, I'm giving a name, same name, that is integer variable. Okay, and suppose in the integer variable, if I will try to assign this floating point value or the decimal value, okay, so in that case this is not the valid thing, right? Okay, the required type is integer, and what we have provided the double value. Okay, so this kind of error is known as the semantic error. Okay, here I'm violating the semantic of the programming language. What is the semantic? The semantic says that if the variable is declared as an integer, then the value must be integer. It should not be floating point value or double value. So this kind of error could be there, but these things are like the programmer's mistake. Okay, whereas the exception which was generated over here is not the programmer's mistake. It is the mistake done by the user. Okay, that is not in the hand of anyone else, right? So that is the difference between the exception and the error. So then what is the error? So it is an irrecoverable condition that is out of control of the programmer. And types of the error like that the Java virtual machine running out of memory, Okay, that is not in our hand. Also, memory leaks, stack overflow errors, library incompatibility, infinite recursion, all these are example of the errors, right? And along with that, two errors like the semantic error and the syntax error. That's it for this video.